Hey guys, Kevin Cage back with another daily cryptocurrency update. Welcome to the channel. Like and subscribe if you like what you've seen. Let's get right into the information today. One taken uncut. So to kick things off, pay hikes in the last 40 years. CEOs, their pay has gone up by 940%. The average American worker has only gone up by a mere 12%. As we can see here, just for fun before we get into the XRP info, CEO to worker pay ratio. 1965, it was 20 to 1. In 1989, it is 58 to 1. In 2018, the CEO gets paid on a ratio of 278 times more than the American worker. Pretty crazy to consider. Obviously, I don't see this turning around anytime soon, but just wanted to share that. Let me know your thoughts down below. All right, to kick things off, Bank XRP, CFTC chairman, and this is Chairman Heath. What is his last name? Tarbert? I'm trying to remember how to pronounce it. I know I've heard it. I'll check later. But anyways, talks on the phase 1 deal of the US and China trade deal, and basically talking about this being signed later this week, hopefully today on January 15th. Now, what's interesting is this is a 4-minute video. He starts talking about cryptocurrencies around the 3-minute mark, 3 minute and 20 seconds if you want to check this out. And I did retweet this, but basically it's interesting that he's talking about these derivative instruments for farmers and agriculture. He wants to obviously, as the CFTC chairman, ensure there's no manipulation or fraudulent activity going on in these markets, wants to help, the everyday people using these tools. And he's talking about these futures products. He's talking about swaps, etc. Now, also about the new markets to develop in the years ahead. Now, regarding cryptocurrency, which is what we care about, he says, obviously regulating and creating a market for digital assets that fall within their jurisdiction, and they have to be, a commodity for them to at least fall in their jurisdiction. And this is their priority, to regulate anything that falls within their jurisdiction. If it falls as a security, it will fall under the SEC's jurisdiction. Now, he basically says he thinks that Bitcoin and Ethereum fall into the CFTC's jurisdiction as a commodity. And basically, these cryptocurrencies will be able to rely on the futures markets, which obviously are markets that have been around for over 100 years, tons of liquidity, and are, obviously a lot more mature, and says that these futures markets will actually help add legitimacy to cryptocurrency. The woman interviewing him asks about, Ripple XRP, the digital asset. He says, obviously it's still unclear, and he tries to refer to all, cryptocurrencies as a whole, and says they are waiting and working closely with the SEC, and they have been over the last year, to determine which cryptos fall within this box. The typical corporate answer. Without clarity, it's obviously hard to figure out how to regulate and especially how to trade them. So just wanted to share that. I know that there will be some discussions today. We'll see. Nothing will actually be deemed because that does take time, but it would not surprise me one bit to have additional FUD for XRP to almost be called the security, or at least be called a security early on, just like EOS, that cryptocurrency was called. And then they did pay a fine for their past behavior years ago. And then, of course, EOS, the price just went, sky high. Wouldn't surprise me to see that. In XRP's case, since I'm naturally cynical until the market actually matures and has true volume running on the ledger and actual utility that is sustainable, it would not surprise me to see more FUD than we've ever seen, a huge drop before we pop up. That is just the typical thing. Obviously, if something's going to go up extremely high, I think that the big money knows. I believe whales manipulate the market, and I believe that we would see a big drop, which is a bullish sign for me, but it might be, contrary to what you guys believe. But I like to consider myself a, contrarian investor, and maybe that's just my ego speaking, but that's just my personal belief, and to each their own. All right, so right here, we got Matthew at LINY. I just say Linny, Long Island, New York, whatever you want to say. And list of participants in the OECD Blockchain Expert Policy Advisory Board. So check this out. So as we can see here, January 2020, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development has formed an expert group to provide advice on its work on blockchain and other DLT. The current list of members can be found below. And just so you guys know, of course, he already provided us some insight here, so we appreciate it. So as we can see here, we got R3, no surprise for blockchain. We got Ripple, no surprise. We have all kinds of large groups. And then, of course, let me see. Right here, and we got Doug Fichot just sharing this. So blockchain 50, we can obviously see Ripple listed right here with some big names: PNC, Santander, Siemens, UBS, Visa, Walmart, NASDAQ, Microsoft, IBM, Google, I mean, you can just go on Facebook, Fidelity. Should be no surprise. You have to realize what you are invested in and what groups in some commercial ventures that are behind this. And remember, I say this, every video, it feels like smart money. You don't want to follow the money. You want to get there before the money gets there. You want to at least, see where it's going and get there first. And luckily, we'll be able to get there before a lot of these institutions have the regulatory clarity to do so. At least, institutionally, of course, there's already big money involved in these markets that we may not even see over the counter. Food for thought. All right, Bank XRP. So we got NTT Data. They are either the 4th, 5th, or 6th largest IT group in the world. Keep in mind, there's a lot of, household names that are on the back end. And it's really interesting here. We got a PDF shared. And obviously leading the digital value revolution. We've seen all the PDFs that they've created with the interledger protocol, of course, with real-time gross settlement systems and, merging, of course, companies and the, whole correspondent banking network I've shown in the past. So I just wanted to show that. We can go through the PDF as well if you want, but I feel like it, you get the gist. We got Ripple, of course, listed right here next to Corda. No surprise, we got Bitcoin, Ethereum, Hyperledger Fabric as well, which is awesome. And then, of course, technically, we got AWS. I know we've shown connections with them. I know Matthew Linney has helped draw connections with, Amazon Web Services as well, along with the Interledger Protocol. We got Ripple and R3 right here is alliances. We got the UK Tier 1 Ripple X Current solution. Keep in mind, X Current does use atomic swap technology. Interledger protocol will be prevalent. It will, without a doubt, bridge these payment networks. There is no other protocol that allows to do this at this time, especially with the backing of ILP, working with all of the huge groups. All right, let me see if I'm missing anything. Of course, here's an example. As you can see here, we got the US payment network, boom, X Current bridging that. We got the Europe, 19 Eurozone countries. This is, X Current bridging that. This is on the messaging standard at least, but this is not the settlement of the core ledger for central banks. And that is where, I believe that XRP will be that best bridge currency to actually settle with finality, not just fancy messaging. And of course, Xcurrent is levels beyond just Swift, but this is not solving the problem at hand. We need that true financial lubricant to grease the wheels of the financial system. All right, we're going to finish off with this. So someone was just saying, why does everyone talk about XRP? And this gentleman, I do not know how to pronounce his name, but I see him around all the time. And again, so XRP, on-demand liquidity, VET, CSC, and basically just hammers off a few points for XRP and why, he believes and why I believe as well. A lot of people talk about XRP compared to other projects. Granted, the price performance is not what I want. Check this out. So obviously technologically superior. We have global central bank relationships along with government bank central relationships. I mean, we're talking 40 to 50 of these top ones in the world. Of course, scalable bridge asset. I mean, obviously you can talk about, on and off chain transactions per second, but really we haven't really tested the max. So anything is possible. The sky is the limit. I mean, significantly above 1,500 plus transactions per second. We got solving $1 trillion problems, obviously with the pre-funded accounts, working with global regulators. Yes, we've hedge hunted so many groups. Top engineering team. Top executive leadership, 10 deep on solid use cases. We've talked about these, whether it's sourcing on-demand liquidity, micro lending, even, talking about the use cases with, R3. Hypothetically, if that were to work out, that'd be awesome. We got the crypto ecosystem focused, of course. We got, Spring, which is a huge initiative. We got web monetization. We have, I believe he meant to say X songs here, which is awesome, and the website is live. We got on-demand liquidity, obviously. Packetized money, I think he's just referring to, interledger protocol, kind of like the HTTP. We got Cinnamon for video. We got Coil for web monetization. We got interledger protocol, as we've already talked about, and then total addressable market, all global value. Now, this is with the interledger protocol, of course. But I do love these things that he listed off. And if you guys have any to add down below, please let me know. So with that, guys, if you have any questions, concerns, be sure to let me know. Hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to hit that like button, share it around, and I will see you in the next one.